Boston Underground. I am here with Joey of Devour the Day. And how are you doing?
Good, I'm doing wonderfully. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for meeting with us.
Yes, no problem.
You've been on tour with Skillet and Sick Puppies since the beginning of February. It's coming to an end pretty soon, actually this Friday. How has it been on the road?
This tour has been incredible. I think Skillet's fan base is multi-aged, and so there's been a lot of kids there, a lot of older people, a lot right down the middle age, kind of all across the spectrum, all different kinds of people from all over the country. And I think for us it's just been a really cool opportunity to reach a lot of ears that maybe never have heard about the day, and everyone's been so responsive and so excited, and there's been so much energy from the crowds, which gives us energy as well, and it's been really very cool that way.
Awesome. So what has been your least favorite and your favorite part of the tour?
My least favorite part of the tour is my drummer's hipster hand grinder for his coffee beans. But I understand the value of that because I love good coffee. That's just how I wake up every day. And he's not a hipster; he just knows good coffee too. And so he'd give me a hard time about that. And then my favorite part of the tour, I think, has been some of the beautiful places that we've been able to see. We played Salt Lake City, and the backdrop to that was just incredible. Denver, just the last week, was sold out crowd at the Fillmore. It was pretty tremendous show, and so I think I'm still nerding out about the opportunity to just play in front of these crowds and stuff.
That's great. That's still so great. Yeah. For your name, Devour the Day, how did you all come up with that?
I think Blake and I had, history with another band, and I think in the beginning of naming that, we had many years to think of all the other names we should have had, you know what I mean? So when it came to naming Devour the Day, we didn't want it to necessarily be a title, we wanted it to be more of like a declaration of something that would be encouraging and inspiring for us as members, not just like a representation of like, look how cool we are, we're in a band, but more of like, if we're going to be a part of a band called Devour the Day, we're going to have to practice what we preach, we're going to have to live what we say, and there's the cliche of carpe diem, and I think we just want to put a little teeth on there, and that was it. So
that's a pretty cool story. I always like hearing the meanings behind brand names. It's always very interesting.
Me
it's
too.
always very
Me
interesting.
too.
To go along with like your music, like you're saying, like hard, like put some teeth on it. Y'all recently, just a few months ago, you released a video for The Bottom. You went back and you like reflected on your lives in Tennessee and told like everyone else like your life events and how it brought you to the music. What is the connection between the song and the video?
Well, Blake and I, who have been making music together since we were 17 years old, and have had a long process through the music business, having a band that was very successful at one point, and then all the way to the band falling apart, and knowing the kind of that full process. But also, our 20s, making very real mistakes with our lives, making some unfortunately not even having to do with our decisions, just that life hands you different adversities throughout, as we all know. And I think there's an importance to the idea that like everyone has a story, not only to relate but also to remind you that like you still have to get up every day and do your shit, pardon my Frank, but that's an important part of life, as far as how I grew up and how Blake grew up. And so Blake and I, in wanting to really show where we come from as honestly as possible, we invested our own money to make that video. We wrote it, we directed it, we did it all in Memphis, him and I and his cousin and my brother, through the film company. Some really great things that happened creatively, but it's probably our most proud creative moment up to this point, because the video, and it's had a really great response with people. I think finally in a world like rock and roll where it's pretty saturated with gimmick, there's a lot of gimmick going on. We're not really gonna be one of those bands. We don't look good in makeup, trust me. And so we've decided to make honesty our gimmick, if there's gonna have to be one, and we're gonna stick to that.
Okay. to go along with more music, you all released your album Soar a little more than a year ago. Do y'all have anything coming up, or are y'all working on anything? Can you tell us anything?
Yeah, we actually are, after this tour, are going to be going home for all of April to write and work on new music. I mean, to be honest, there's 9 new tracks that we've been writing on our bus over the course of this tour, because we've had a crazy influx of creativity and a really cool idea of how we want to make the next record and the tones that we're going after and some of the subject matters. I think I'm sure you guys can relate to this, or at least have people in your life. The presidential election has got me having plenty to say. I don't have to go further than that, I don't think, but I'm pretty confused. I mean, I think I got a lot to process through the music, and I think Blake does as well. And so it's important for us to use our voice to be for something real, something positive, not necessarily just, hey, buy our music and make because we're cool. You know what I mean? I want to make a difference, and so I think there's a lot to say, and we want to say it.
What type of advice would you give someone who's trying to make it in the music world, in the industry? What would you say to them?
Run! No. I would say, because if I was imagining myself, what would I really give to them before we get a sound check? I would say keep writing. It's about being creative. That's what's going to make you whole. There's going to be every kind of distraction on the spectrum throughout the entirety of growing up in the world of this. But if it is in your heart that you just want to wake up and be a creative human being, then that has to be the focus of every decision. Boom.
All right, well, that's all I have. Thanks for watching Oscar Round Round. This is Joey, and we'll see y'all next time. Thanks.
Thank you.